If I tell you that I am doing okay, then I would be lying. What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing well. If you are new here, hi, you are welcome. Today's video is going to be all about my journey to getting a UK driver's license. I just want to document the level where I'm at the moment so that I don't forget anything by the time I am done. I feel like to get a driver's license in the UK, you have to undergo a whole course. That is how it has been for me. Obviously, before you get to the final stage, the stage where you get your driver's license, you have to start by passing the theory test. And guys, you don't want to know how many times I had to take that theory test before I finally passed. I almost felt like I was not smart because, guys, I struggled. To be honest with you guys, I struggled, but eventually I passed my theory test in sometime in January. And it took me this long to start the driving license process because my husband and I were doing the same thing. We were traveling to work together and he was obviously driving, so I didn't have any pressing need to undergo the driving lesson process at that time. So when I eventually got ready to start the driving lessons, I got pregnant and it was not the best time for me to do that. Even though I could do the theory and do the practicals after having my baby, just about 3 months after I had my second baby, we got into the lockdown and it was quite difficult to have a slot to go in for the theory test. When things started getting a bit relaxed with the lockdown, it took me a while to have a slot for the theory test, and when I eventually started, I struggled to pass. The pass mark for the theory test is 43 out of 50, and a couple of times I had either 42 out of 50 or 41 out of 50, so I was failing by either 1 or 2 marks, which is so painful. It's better to fail very well I know that you are not ready for this than to fail by 1 or 2 marks. Anyways, I eventually passed, and I made a video when I passed, but I've lost the clip, unfortunately. When I wanted to sign up for driving practice, all the driving instructors that I contacted about 12 driving instructors, and they were so committed. They were all busy because, you know, we just got out of lockdown and many people were trying to get their driving practice done. I eventually got somebody, but they told me that they can only start giving me lessons from April. I agreed to that, so in April I started doing my driving practice, and so far I have done 9 driving lessons with my instructor. And along the line, I realized that it is not cheap. Those driving lessons are not cheap. One lesson is £39, which is 1 hour 30 minutes, and so far I've had 9 lessons, and at this point I've already booked my test, but I am still practicing. So along the line, while practicing with the instructor, since it was a bit costly, we decided to buy a learner's insurance on our small car. And with the learner's insurance, which I would recommend if you are currently practicing for your driving test, if you have a car or if you can afford a car, it is advisable to buy a learner's insurance. And if you have somebody, an experienced driver who is qualified to be with you in the car while you are driving, get a learner's insurance on that car so that you can drive to shops, to places that you people normally go to. That way it will make your learning process a lot easier. So we got that on our small car, so I've been driving our small car to the shops, to the kids activities, and just anywhere that we need to go to that does not require us going through the motorway. I still have about a month and 3 weeks to go before my test date, and So far so good. I'm really just hoping that I'll pass at the first try, because even though you might know how to drive, but on that day, just because you know that it is a test, those nerves are always there. If you have any questions as far as getting a driver's license in the UK is concerned, leave your comments in the comment section and I'll be happy to share with you based on my own experience. Right, it's just a few minutes before my instructor gets here. That's the car. Hi people, if I tell you I'm doing okay, then I would be lying. You know, when you are looking forward to something and you just cannot wait for that thing to come and happen so that you can move on with your life, and the day eventually comes and you don't succeed. That's exactly how I'm feeling now. I've just been so uninterested in anything. I see my phone ringing and I just don't feel like talking to anybody. I don't feel like doing anything. I don't feel like getting out of bed. Some of you might be like, it's not that deep, but it's that deep for me because I've waited for so long to get this over and done with. And I passed my theory test last year, 21st of January 2022, and I started practicing for my practical driving test in April. I had like 2 months break in between because I had to change driving instructors. The test date that I initially booked, I had to change that date because I was not ready by the time that I was supposed to take my first driving test, since I had to take that about 2 months break in between to get a new driving instructor. So I eventually started with the new driving instructor. He's been fantastic. I will give that to him. He did his absolute best and he made sure that I was ready to go in for the test before taking me for the test. So today is the 31st of March. I went for my first driving test on the 28th of March and it was unsuccessful. You guys don't know how long I have waited for this. I'm lucky enough to be living by the bus stop and close to the tram stop that I usually use most of the time when I'm going to the city center, most especially for shopping. But I cannot go on public transport all the time. There are certain times that I need to take the kids to their activities. I need to go to work as well, because now I don't work with my husband anymore. I go to work and he cannot be driving me to work and picking me from work all the time. And in the mornings when I'm going to work, I need to be on time, and when I have to be waiting for the tram, waiting for the bus, waiting for the train, sometimes there's delays in between, all those inconveniences, guys. And you know, sometimes you dress up to go to a party, you cannot go and start waiting for public transport to go. If it's an event that my husband is not going to, and if he's not ready or available to take me there, I have to take an Uber, which is very expensive. So I've just been I don't have to start naming the advantages of being able to drive in this country, especially when you have kids. And just as a human being who needs to get things done and move from point A to point B, now I really do wish I had learned and passed my test as soon as I got into this country and not having to wait until now. The most frustrating thing about me not passing my test the first time is that after COVID, there's been a queue. It's hard to find a test date that is available within weeks or months. It's usually like 3, 4, 5, 6 months wait before you can get a test date. So I was really hoping that I passed this first time so I don't have to wait for that long. And also, when you take your theory test in this country, you have up to 2 years to pass your practical test. If you don't pass your practical test within 2 years, you will have to go back and take the theory test. You guys, I know how many times I had to write the theory test to pass, and I don't want to go back to that anymore. Anyway, after the unsuccessful result 3 days ago, I looked for another date immediately, and the closest available date I could find was in 6 months, which is in September. I've gone ahead and booked it, and I have to wait again. I've just decided to give myself a little break, maybe 4 months break. When it's 2 months to the day of the test, I can start practicing again with my instructor, because it's not as if he's not done enough. I don't think there's anything new I need to learn, but I just need to get my hands steady on the steering again and re-familiarize myself with the things that I need to know before going in for the test. So I'll just give myself a break. When it's about 2 months to the test date, then we'll start practicing again before I go in for the test. If there's one thing to be grateful for, at least I got to experience what it feels like to go for practical driving test in the UK. On the test date, they asked me if I wanted my instructor to come with me. I said it was up to him if he wanted to come, and he decided to come with me. So my driving instructor was with me in the car. The driving examiner was there, and there was another driving examiner at the back. I think the person who was examining my driving is new, and the other lady at the back was supervising how she is examining me, and also watching how I was driving to be sure that she is doing what she's supposed to do as a driving examiner. So I had 3 other people with me in the car while I was driving. I had 5 minor driving faults, and that one does not fail you. You have to have, I think, up to about 14 minor driving faults for it to count as a fail. I had 5 minor driving faults, and I had 1 major fault, which was the forward bay parking, which I've always done correctly throughout my driving practice. I think it's because I have always done it correctly, and I did not think that, okay, what if it goes wrong, what will I do? So I did not even think about that. For some reason, on the day of the test, I just could not park in between the lines. I don't know what happened, and the moment I got it wrong the first time, my brain just switched off completely. The nerves kicked in. I just did not know what I was doing anymore. I had the opportunity to adjust myself and get it right without stopping the car. So I came out of the parking and I just did not know what I was doing. I went back in the same way that I went the first time, and I just was not getting it right. The examiner opened the door and saw that I was not in between the lines, and at that point I just knew that I had failed. I asked her if I could try again, because she asked me to do a forward bay parking either on the left or on the right. So I went on the left. I asked her if I could try again on the right. She said that will not be necessary. I just knew that, okay, I have failed. She asked me to come out and move off when I'm ready. I moved off, and we got there. She told me, oh, she's sorry, the test was unsuccessful. My heart sank. I was mad at myself, because honestly my driving instructor did a fantastic job. It was just all me. I honestly don't know what happened, but yeah, the most frustrating thing is having to wait for another 6 months, and if I don't get it right this second time, then I might have to go and do the theory test again, because if I take the test in September and I don't pass, I have until January 2024 to pass. If I don't get it right by September, I'm not sure I will be able to find another test date before January 2024. So I will most likely go in for the theory test again, which is a nightmare. I've not been feeling good at all, and I just thought to come. I just did not even want to come and talk about this here, but I feel like if I come and air it out here, I might feel better, and that is exactly what I'm doing. So I'll see you guys again in 6 months if I pass or if I don't pass and I feel the need to come and talk about it, you guys will still see me with an update. I've had over 30 lessons so far with my instructor and still counting. Those lessons are not cheap. They are not cheap, but what can I do? It's a life skill that I definitely need to have, and I just cannot wait for that day when I'll have my driver's license in my hand and move on to other things. Honestly, guys, honestly. Hello people. I just don't know how to behave anymore. My emotions are all over the place. If you're seeing this spot here, please ignore it. I've had a fever blister here and it's just drying up. That's why I have this black spot here. It's, yeah, let's just even forget about that. I just wanted to put that out there in case you're wondering what's that on her lip. Yes, guys, you are talking to the latest driver in town. Oh my god. I remember from my previous clip I mentioned that I was concerned about finding another test date sooner because the closest date I could find was in September, but fortunately for me, another test date came up in May. I went for it, so I booked that immediately. Today is the 19th of May, so I booked that test, and as the test date was approaching, 2 days to the test, let me give you guys a little background story. 2 days to that test day, my instructor called me and he told me that he's sick. He's had food poisoning and he cannot leave the house. That was 2 days to my test date. The time from when I failed the other test and now we've only had one lesson. So we had to have this lesson 2 days to the test and then 1 hour on the test day before the test. So he calls me that he's sick and it was already gone past the day when I can cancel my test and get a refund. So I was like, what is going on? I was confused. I didn't know what to do, and I was hoping and praying that he gets better like yesterday so that today he can come and at least give me 1 hour lesson before the test day. So yesterday in the evening he called me to say he's still not feeling well and I should not worry. He's going to find someone who will come take his car and take me to the test, but that person is not going to give me a lesson before the test. I was like, oh my god, how on earth am I supposed to go for this test when I've not really had enough lessons to, you know, get comfortable on the areas that I needed to work on before the next test. But one thing that kept me calm was that, all right, they are going to come with the car that I'm already familiar with, which is the same car that he has been using to give me lessons all this while. Today morning he calls me that his condition is getting worse. He needs to go to the hospital, so his wife needs to drive him in their car, the same car that I'm supposed to use to go for my test. Oh my god, in my head I just knew that is it. I just gave up already, because why are all these things happening now when I'm supposed to take my test? He said, but he's found somebody who can come and take me to the test, give me 1 hour lesson before the test, but it's not going to be with his car, a completely new car. It's not as if I cannot drive any other car. I can, but as a new driver you need enough time to practice in a car before you can get comfortable enough for you to go take a test in that car. So that was the only option I had, to go with this guy, take 1 hour lesson before the test. In my head I was just like, 1 hour cannot be enough for me to get acquainted with this car, enough for me to be comfortable to take a test in this car. But right now I don't even have a choice. Let me just go, because I've already paid for the test. If I don't go, I will lose. So let me just go. Whatever happens, happens. Let me just go and take the test. And yeah, if I fail, I fail. Then when my instructor gets better, we're going to take more lessons and I'm going to book for a different test. This guy comes, takes me to the test route. We did some lessons, went through, they show me, tell me bits, because we had to do that, because even though some of these things are very similar, but in each car it can be situated, some of the things that you need to show could be situated in different places. So he went through, they show me, tell me questions, and we did a little bit of driving and we went to the test. They asked me the usual question, do you want your instructor to come or not? I was like, it's up to him. You know, when you are just not, your mind is just not there. I'd already given up. I was like, whatever they want to do. I was like, it's up to him if he wants to come or not. They said that is not an answer. Do you want your instructor to come, yes or no? I said no, I'd rather he doesn't come, because this person, I'm only seeing him today. I don't know how I feel with him being in the car. And also I wanted to have a different experience, because in my previous test I had my instructor with me in the car and 2 examiners. That's like 3 other people with me in the car. I said, okay, today my instructor is not here, let me just go with the examiner alone and see what happens. So I went alone with the examiner, took the test, and guys, I did not only pass, I passed with just 1 minor. I'm just so happy that I've gotten this over and done with, because this is such an essential skill that I need, especially as a mom and working 30 minutes far away from home, traveling on public transport and spending 1 hour 30 minutes to get to the same location that I can use 28 or 30 minutes to get there. This has been a long time coming. The next step now will be for me to get a small simple car to get comfortable on the road before we can start saving money to go for that dream car. Yes. If you have any more questions on the whole process of getting your driver's license in the UK, you can leave your comments in the comment section, and I'm more than happy to answer them individually. Or if I get too many questions, I don't mind doing a whole new video to address your concerns. I am so excited, guys. I don't even know how to behave. And if you've been taking your test and it's been unsuccessful, here I am telling you that it doesn't matter how many times you are unsuccessful, you can make it. If I can make it, you can make it. If other people have been making it, you can make it. You just need to keep working on the areas that you have been unsuccessful in, and eventually it's going to happen. Even if it takes 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. I watched so many videos last time when I took my test and it was unsuccessful, and I was shocked to see that there are people who have taken their test 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, 9 times, and it was unsuccessful, and they have still been trying until they got it. You can pass. Do not let your second unsuccessful result discourage you. Do not let your 3rd, 4th, 5th unsuccessful result discourage you, even though we're hoping that you can pass as soon as possible. But if for one reason or the other you don't get it right the first few times, do not give up. You can do it. Thank you guys so much. I know that this is so long. If you've watched until now, thank you so much for watching. And if you are new here, you are welcome. This is a safe space. You are most welcome. My name is Josie, and yeah, I hope you find a reason to stay, because we always have a lot of fun over here. Thank you so much for watching, and stay blessed, stay safe, continue to drink a lot of water, and mind the business that pays you. I love you, and I will see you in my next video. Yay!